All right, let's take a moment and talk about some issues that I've been seeing lately around emails that I've been getting on these two things called Docket OP 1670, which is also known as FedNow, and eCash account, better known as digital dollars. Now, these two things may not have come across your desk, but I can tell you, I've been seeing a lot about this lately about how the US government is trying to take away our US dollars or control them and control our bank accounts and our activities and what we're trying to do. And I don't think that's exactly what's happening, but I do need to let you know what's happening with respect to some of these initiatives that are going on. All right, so we're going to talk about these two initiatives. I want to talk first about this one called FedNow. Now, the FedNow is a service that is designed to allow instant payments between banks and credit unions in the US. It works by using this ledger that the Federal Reserve maintains, and it allows transactions to be recorded and settled in real time between banks and credit unions. It has nothing to do with us. It's just a payment infrastructure that banks and credit unions can use to offer faster, more secure payment services to their customers. The Federal Reserve is trying to launch it in July, or at least in the summer of 2022. Now, some people, though, claim that it's a ruse by the US government to monitor our bank accounts, much like we are seeing in China, where they control everything like that. But I need to give you a heads up. Our US government is monitoring what we're doing. They're not controlling it as much as China does, but they have access to your accounts already. They're looking for money laundering, illegal activities like tax evasion, things like that. So they still have access to it. Remember, the US dollar is backed and controlled by the Federal Reserve and the US government. So they can pretty much do whatever they want about controlling where that money's coming and going. So if you're not doing anything illegal, you don't need to worry about it. Okay. So anyway, that has really nothing to do with us, though. That's just around the banks and the credit unions. But yet, I've been getting emails saying that this is another ploy by the U.S. government to control our money. Now, this though is a little bit different. These are called digital dollars. It's also known as eCash. I've seen it spelled many different ways: e-cash, eCash. But it's Electronic Currency and Secure Hardware Act, better known as digital dollars. Now, what are digital dollars? This is a virtual currency, much like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum, any of these other currencies that are out there that are not backed by any formal government. This, however, is issued and backed by the US government and is regulated by the Federal Reserve. And therefore, many pundits and supporters of this concept believe it's going to be much more stable than something like Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind, though, that one of the things about Bitcoin is that it allows us to, doesn't allow us, I don't use Bitcoin, but any user of Bitcoin can make transactions without being monitored. They can do things secretly. So, drugs, ransomware, prostitution, whatever, they can use these virtual currencies. But Bitcoin, while that it could be used like that with Bitcoin, it won't be able to be done with digital dollars. That's going to be controlled by the U.S. government, and they would never let something like that happen. Now, think about it though. We already use electronic dollars right now. The use of paper currency has been diminishing for many years. Many people use debit cards right now. I mean, when's the last time you used paper currency? I use my debit card all the time. I also pay with Venmo and Zelle. I don't use Apple Pay and Google Pay that much, but I know it's out there, and I see a lot of people using those. So that's a type of a digital currency. We're already using something similar, but this actual digital currency is controlled by the U.S. government, and it acts much like Bitcoin. So the use of paper currency has been diminishing, not just in the United States, but around the world. People are not using paper currency anymore. Still, it is a little bit different than electronic dollars that we use on a regular basis, but it's still very similar. We're not going to see it, and we don't have to touch it. It's not tangible. All right. So, what are the benefits? Why are all these proponents supporting this thing? Well, for one thing, they believe it's going to reduce transaction fees. There's no intermediaries like banks or credit card networks, things like that. So, Some believe that it's going to reduce some fees. We won't have to pay as much in interest rates, things like that. Whether that's going to be done or not, who knows? This hasn't been rolled out yet. It can provide access to payment system for unbanked customers. Somewhere around 5% of our population is unbanked. Of course, these are people who don't have the money to be banked in the first place. But now this could give them an ability to use digital wallets or mobile devices, which they do have. They do have mobile devices usually. Also, that can support faster and cheaper cross-border payments. Now, why does that matter? Well, one of the benefits of Bitcoin and these virtual currencies is that the little farmer in South America could buy and sell supplies and sell his coffee or his commodity easier through Bitcoin. There are no transaction fees. It's done seamlessly. It's done quickly. There's not a lot that's got to be done. So it avoids currency conversion and foreign exchange fees. So just a lot easier if we're doing work overseas. Now, the last one is enhance innovation of the payment system. We're already using well, I wouldn't say programmable money, but we are using these Apple Pay type things. So we're just moving into a new form of that. And also allows us to stay current with technology, compete against cryptocurrency. Again, I'm not supporting this. I'm just saying this is what the proponents are saying about it. So it allows us a lot more functionalities and how we pay and how we compete from a fintech standpoint. But there are many drawbacks. People are coming to me all the time saying, well, I don't like it. The government can monitor and control my spending accounts and watch what I'm doing. So the big one is it can threaten the privacy and autonomy of users by giving government more power to monitor and control their spending habits and financial activities. And now I'm not saying that can't be done. I mean, they certainly can track it now. So what's any different between now and using this? Is that going to change? I'm not sure. Bitcoin has a lot of technical and security issues. Hacking, fraud, cyber attacks, system failures, FTX, for example. Lots of these cryptocurrency exchanges are breaking down. So what's to say this can't suffer much of the same thing? Now, granted, the U.S. government is going to step in, and so it might be a little more secure, but at the same time, it could still face technical and security issues. It could lack reversibility. Once you do a transaction, you can't undo it. You can't dispute transactions. If it's like Bitcoin, once it happens, there's no coming back. But that's a lot the way that it is now. I mean, Zelle and Venmo, every time I make a payment, it says it's irrevocable and irreversible. So I think that's the way that it is now. So if you make a mistake or an account or a problem, that's it. Can't reverse it. All right, but one of the big ones too is it could affect the stability and role of the U.S. dollar in the global economy. All right, what does that mean? Well, it creates more competition and uncertainty among other currencies and payment systems. Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Ethereum and all these other ones are kind of floating out there right now, but the issue is nobody is really accepting it. I never been to a store and used it. I don't know about you, but if I don't use Bitcoin for anything, so I don't think that's going to be a big deal. It's going to happen anyway. If the US dollar, though, isn't a part of that, then it could be a problem. Now, I'm not supporting this, though. I don't like digital dollars. I like how we have our currency going, but I just think the global economy is putting pressure on us to keep things the way that they are. And this might be one of the things that we have to take a closer look at. All right, so let me sum up by saying what I'm reading and hearing about. So all these soothsayers are out there believing the U.S. government is going to freeze your bank accounts, stop you from advancing causes they don't like. And this is a terrible slide. I don't know what happened with this. But let me change this slide. All right, so sorry about that. But FedNow and digital dollars. Soothsayers believe this U.S. government will freeze your bank account, stop you from advancing causes they don't like, and track your movements. But it's questionable if that's the best course of action for the U.S. government. We're not trying to be like the Chinese government, but people are fearful that we're turning into that. And, I got to be honest with you, I've seen some of this craziness going on too, just like you have. All right.